For decades, Taiwan has lived with a constant strategic dilemma. Across the narrow stretch of water separating it from mainland China stands the world's fastest-growing military superpower, one that openly vows to seize the island by force if necessary. In response, Taiwan has quietly built one of the most important defensive networks on the planet. It has acquired Abrams tanks, upgraded F-16 fighters, high-mobility artillery rocket system launchers, and new air defense systems. But amid all these big purchases, something far more transformative has now entered the picture. A weapon that Taiwan won't just buy, but will physically build on its own soil. That weapon is the Barracuda 500, a powerful new autonomous cruise missile that reflects both Taiwan's changing defense strategy and the evolving nature of U.S. military manufacturing. This is more than a weapons deal. It is a message, a warning, and a shift in the balance of future conflict. And it might be the single clearest sign yet that Taiwan intends to stand its ground. What exactly is the Barracuda 500? The Barracuda 500 is the largest and most capable member of a new generation of autonomous strike vehicles. While still commonly described as a cruise missile, it is essentially a smart, independently navigating attack system, built to fly low, fly fast, and strike even in the harshest electronic warfare environment. Taiwan chose the 500 variant because it offers both reach and punch. Around 500 nautical miles of range and a payload in the neighborhood of 100 pounds that puts a broad stretch of ocean and coastline within its strike zone, including the ships China would rely on for any blockade or amphibious landing. Unlike some of the more familiar cruise missiles, the Barracuda is designed with flexibility in mind. It can be launched from aircraft, from trucks, and from palletized systems like Rapid Dragon. But because Taiwan expects its airfields to be under heavy bombardment in any conflict, it is shifting almost entirely toward ground-launched options. The island's geography helps. Taiwan is narrow, mountainous, and full of places where road-mobile launchers can hide and wait. A missile that doesn't need a runway becomes a missile that is far more likely to survive the first wave of enemy strikes. How the Barracuda flies, hunts, and hits its targets. The Barracuda 500 takes off with a booster stage that throws it into the air before a compact turbojet engine takes over. Once cruising, it flies at low altitude, hugging terrain and staying beneath radar horizons. Its estimated speed of around 575 miles per hour puts it in the same neighborhood as the Tomahawk. But the real marvel isn't its speed or altitude, it's the independence baked into its design. The missile navigates using a fusion of GPS, inertial navigation, terrain contour matching, and onboard artificial intelligence. This is important because in the opening minutes of any China-Taiwan conflict, electronic warfare will be everywhere. GPS will be disrupted, data links will be jammed, command networks may be attacked. Taiwan needed a weapon smart enough to survive in that chaos, and the Barracuda fits that need perfectly. Even when cut off from outside communication, it can continue navigating, rerouting, identifying targets, and completing its strike profile without a human operator. That level of autonomy remains rare among conventional cruise missiles. It also helps that the Barracuda can maneuver at up to 5 Gs. This isn't fighter jet territory, but it is sharp enough to force shipboard defenses into difficult intercept angles. Modern navies rely on close-in weapon systems that pour a storm of cannon fire at incoming threats. But these systems are stressed when the target dodges, dips, or shifts course during its final approach. A missile that can twist unexpectedly buys itself a few extra seconds. And in missile combat, a few seconds can be everything. Why Taiwan chose this weapon? Taiwan understands a harsh truth. It cannot outbuild China. It cannot field more ships, more aircraft, or more missiles. But it can build smarter, cheaper, and more survivable systems that force China to fight an exhausting, unpredictable, and costly battle. The Barracuda 500 fits into this evolving porcupine strategy, which focuses on dispersing firepower across many small, mobile, inexpensive platforms, rather than relying on a few big, vulnerable assets. The price is a huge part of the appeal. Taiwan estimates each Barracuda 500 will cost only a fraction of a Tomahawk or naval strike missile, yet still provide the range and accuracy needed to threaten an invasion fleet. At a little over $200,000 per unit, Taiwan can afford to acquire them in large volumes. Because Anduril designed the Barracuda family with around 90% parts commonality across variants, they can be produced quickly and upgraded rapidly. Taiwan's goal is to manufacture them domestically within 18 months. That timeline is ambitious but incredibly significant. In a war, Taiwan cannot rely on steady resupply from the United States. The way Ukraine relies on Europe, Taiwan would be isolated, surrounded, and cut off. Every missile it fires must be something it can replace itself. If it can mass-produce the Barracuda 500, it gains a level of wartime resilience China cannot easily overcome. How China might try to counter the Barracuda? China has built an enormous layered defense system to protect its naval forces. Long-range interceptors, medium-range missiles, close-in rapid-fire cannons, advanced radar, and airborne early warning aircraft all contribute to a network designed to shoot down threats before they arrive. China also heavily invests in electronic warfare, jamming systems, decoy ships, inflatable targets, and techniques meant to fool AI-based seekers. In theory, China can intercept missiles like the Barracuda 500. But the real question isn't whether China can shoot one down. It's whether China can shoot down hundreds. Modern naval battles are not about the sophistication of a single missile. They are about how well a navy handles saturation, confusion, and simultaneous threats from multiple directions. Even the U.S. Navy, with its Aegis system long considered the gold standard of maritime air defense, has found itself challenged in recent Red Sea engagements, where drones and missiles arrived faster than defenses could reset. In some cases, destroyers had to use deck guns because interceptors were running low. Taiwan doesn't need a handful of elite missiles. It needs many. The Barracuda 500 gives it the ability to flood a target. If China launches a blockade or an amphibious assault, Taiwan can unleash swarms of low-flying maneuvering cruise missiles at key ships. Some will be shot down. Many will not. A single hit on a landing ship full of troops or vehicles can throw an entire invasion timetable into chaos. The bigger strategic picture. Taiwan's defense strategy is undergoing a fundamental transformation. Instead of relying on large, centralized facilities that are easy to target, the island is shifting toward distributed systems, road-mobile platforms, autonomous vehicles, and containerized weapons that can fire from unexpected places. The Barracuda 500 symbolizes this shift. It doesn't need a runway. It doesn't need elaborate infrastructure. It can launch from a truck that looks like any civilian vehicle until the moment it reveals its cargo. This kind of decentralization makes Taiwan far harder to switch off with a single surprise strike. And by working directly with Anduril, a fast-moving U.S. defense startup focused on autonomy, software, and rapid iteration, Taiwan is tapping into a new model of weapons development that's much closer to Silicon Valley than traditional defense industry giants. This partnership means faster upgrades, quicker production cycles, and a weapon that can evolve while tensions continue to rise. Can the Barracuda 500 change the balance? No single system will decide the future of the Taiwan Strait, but the Barracuda 500 represents a powerful step in the right direction. It gives Taiwan a weapon that is affordable, survivable, independent, and effective against the very targets China needs most: its ships. It signals that Taiwan intends not to wait passively for help, but to build its own arsenal at home. And it forces China to consider a future conflict not as a smooth, rapid conquest, but as a brutal, chaotic struggle against an island covered in hidden launchers and autonomous missiles. If the Barracuda program scales the way Taiwan hopes, it may very well become one of the key pillars preventing a war from happening at all. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Taiwan's new Barracuda 500 system and how it could reshape the balance of power in the Pacific, make sure to hit that like and don't forget to subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Could the Barracuda really shift China's invasion strategy? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.